the end repeatedly. You could just see every single time they're looking back, they're looking up, right? Their focus is up onto the high ground. They were almost tunnel visioned on that, and in the last 2 games in particular, that was what obviously was their downfall. So I don't think that they will have qualified when you end up looking at the full teams who have, but I'm excited to see the guys who have.
Well, let's take a look. This is it. We're going to see the standings. Remember, top 8 auto-qualify, and we'll go right into finals. Everyone else will have to play for qualifier number 2. We take a look. Badil and Reason do squeak by. Look at the tiebreaker there, right? That victory royale making the difference. Refs Guard and Scram. Now, don't forget, they still earn series points. And coming in 9th is essentially like a first place when you kind of think about it in the grand scheme of things. So coming into next qualifier, they're going to be looking very, very strong. But Reese, you kind of talked about it before going into this game. Rifle and Marine, they just were doing so well all 6 games. And now kind of going into finals saying like, look, across these games, we held number 1 spot. You don't want to land near us. You don't want to go head-to-head with us. If we end up going toe-to-toe, we will walk away the winners.
No, they got off spawn every single game, and we saw the confidence in them going for high ground in that final game. They were unbelievably happy with it. Like, they knew they went. Like, they were going for that first place tournament slot with that high ground retake, and obviously they ended up in 3rd there. 2nd, Hen and Queasy absolutely popping off as well. I'm sure they will be absolutely ecstatic about that. Congratulations to all top 8 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to hurt a little bit there for the 9th team. I mean, it is basically guaranteed to make yourself towards semifinals and the heats, but getting that finals in this is just so easy. All of that pressure is unloaded on you. And unfortunately, just not making it there for those guys. But another 2 I want to mention is Raze and Phoenix. I mean, these guys, I think, are very unknown. They haven't had many final performances, and if they did make finals, they sort of struggled in them. But, you know, the absolute aggression coming out of them, I know that personally, how aggressive these guys are, because I know they're banned from every single practice server because of that aggression. But, you know, that's good enough for a finals lobby, so it's good enough for here.
There you go. And Pablo and Swag did make it in that 7th place, right? So once again, it just comes down to that last game, man. Sometimes these duos, they just know it's time to put our foot on the gas. We want to qualify, and we will. You do love to see it. Before we say goodbye, let's take a quick little peek here at our predictions, see how we did overall. You know, sometimes we just do really well. You know, sometimes man, we do well. Sometimes we don't, Reese.
Nope. I mean, you were in 12th. Like, Aquanoa 12th, not bad at all. I'll take the 2nd for myself. You know, it's a little bit lower than the standard I would normally go for. But you know what? It's day 1. I'm feeling rusty.
Yeah, I mean, Cammy and Teak, they were so close, and I know I'm mentioning that again, but they were so consistent today, but those last 2 games just not picking it up. Obviously getting pushed over by Trippin from Coney Crossroads as well. Just an unfortunate, but they did make it to the final, so that's good enough for me.
Yeah, and of course, obviously, Shy and Levin going with Tayson and Thomas HD. A strong pick. We have talked a couple times about them in those last 2 games in particular. And honestly, for like Tayson, like, these guys show up when it matters, right? With semifinals to qualify to finals as well. Historically, in some of these seasons, like, Tayson has not been great when it comes to the qualifiers. Chapter 2, Season 7 was a particular great example when then they came into the semifinals, absolutely destroyed, winning 2 of the 6 games from the biggest performances that we've ever seen, and then went on to place 3rd in the finals. So right now, like, just because they've not managed to do super well and qualify through in qualifier number 1 does not mean we're not going to see something dominant when it comes to the end.
And it usually pertains, I think, to draw spot as well. I mean, these guys, they always contest the biggest and the best draw spots on the map. And today it was Covert Canyon. But with this many teams landing there, it's a little bit tough to alpha those draw spots. And that's basically the name of the game for Tayson. He cares about that drop because he doesn't care about heats. He doesn't care about qualifying to the finals because he's that confident. He knows he's going to make it there regardless because he's the absolute best sometimes. And all he cares about is just getting that draw spot on Conf Grand Finals. And, you know, it's going to work out in the end, hopefully for him.
I mean, hopefully, right? I mean, yeah. I think there's still quite a bit of names that we didn't even see participate today, right? People did not even make it into round number 3. And now that we've kind of pulled 8 away from the pool, we've said, okay, you guys have earned yourselves a spot on the bus to finals. That means the next qualifier 2 on Sunday, don't forget, we might have a different subset of players. We might have players like the team that came in 9th. They might come right back, right? Refs Guard and Scram, they missed that qual, but they might come back and say, like, okay, we're here now, and that top 8 ain't here no more. We're free to kind of operate. This also means new POIs are open up, drop spots are open up. There's still so much more that can unfold over 2 qualifiers. And of course, we can't forget semifinals the week after that. So there's still quite a bit to play for here.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually think, just quietly going back for a second there, we're talking about teams who should worry about that drop spot. Joe and Vino, obviously we saw the battle going back and forth between Dropmanson. They ended up placing 15th. And in that final game, we saw that they could have almost had a run at it, but they also went down 15th in the match. So 15th in the match, 15th over on the leaderboard. They're contesting them off spawn. And if that, again, they're uncontested in that qualifier 2 on Sunday, and they managed to make it through to the finals, it's like, now you've got a battle on your hands that's going week after week. And again, that drop spot may not be secure for the finals.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of contested spots as well, I mean, DKS and Bad Cypher coming out of triple contested tilted towers. I mean, this is probably Benji and Savage's worst nightmare, to have a team that contests you and that you've been fighting for the entire season, already guaranteed the slot in the finals. That's going to hurt a little bit. So, I mean, maybe we'll see some spice in this next week, and we'll see some other teams in tilted qualify as well. But for sure, it's going to be contested in finals 100%.
Absolutely. There's still so much untapped potential as well here in Chapter 3 Season 1, right? I still think there's so much that we have yet to discover. And a lot of there's things that these duels are kind of keeping up their sleeve, right? They're waiting to say there's strategies, things we have to implement, but we want to wait until semifinals. We want to wait until either that or finals until we start breaking out some of these very secret little strategies they may have. Before we say goodbye, let's take a look at our broadcast schedule. If you enjoyed what you saw today, don't forget, we have other regions as well. NA East, NA West. Later on in the day, today specifically. Remember, we're not back tomorrow, but we're back on Sunday, February 20th. A similar time, rather, not the same time. A little bit earlier on in the day for some of you. And then, of course, next weekend, you've got semifinals. That'll be 3 straight days of Fortnite action, all culminating in the following week after that. 2 weeks from today, March 5th and 6th, we'll have the finals. Acts of Champions on the line, $1.3 million here in Europe. So make sure you stick around, because it's gonna be crazy FNCS, to say the least. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Don't forget, NA East will be up later on in the day. Different crew, so make sure you guys stop by, say hello to them, and cheer on some of your favorite players. Legends Landing. We'll see you guys on Sunday. And as always, we'll see all of you up on that battle bus.
Bye.